And as I was telling Katie, when I really first started, um, and luckily it was in the middle of winter, I didn't have photography lights or anything like that. So I started, like all things with even going live, you don't need super fancy. I started with little halogen lights and popped them up, and it would get warm. But again, because it was winter, and then I went looking for one that has a clamp so I could pop it up and get hair, a light to separate behind me. So just kind of showing you can always take stuff like that and work that. And so of all the hacks, I kind of have a few just mini hacks that come together for one set of lighting hacks. Just to kind of show you my setup in case you're curious. I'm just going to flip over to this. I have a side light. Sorry, it's bright. That has a ring light up above, and then another light. And what you don't see in the setting is the most simplest of the setups here is I actually have just track lighting up above me. So right now, I'm going to step semi off frame, but you'll see if I turn it on, I get cool separation. I'm turning it off because I want to use some other examples, but you can see it kind of, since I have dark hair and a dark background, causes separation. So a very simple thing was just changing one of these track lights to point at me or not. Whether I point it on the wall behind instead or just back on me, as you can kind of see. So sometimes just picking where you'd use your space makes a big difference. Turn that back off. But in photography, a lot of what you see is not what it really is either. So when I first got into it, I had the fancy lights. And of course, the thing with that is everything comes out a different color. So hot lights are warm. That's what they are. So if I take this and shine it on me, it is warm. You can take it off and to make it cooler, or the most simple little hack, you can use any types of these. They sell them all over the place. But it's just cellophane, colored cellophane. So when I first started, I ended up buying filters over time because they're more heat resistant, but they don't have to be that way. So you can get something called a CTB, so cross to blue, and you'll see I'm no longer bright orange, but instead more of a normal natural color. At the same time, if you want to make your background really cool looking, just get some red cellophane. If it's a hot light, back it up from it, put it over it, and you can put a splash of red on the background and just kind of angle it. Additionally, there's cool stuff called cinefoil you can get, but a cinefoil is just black aluminum foil. So if you take aluminum foil, spray paint it black, it's not quite as heat resistant, but it allows you to shape and cut stuff from it. Because if you have this big light like this, light's going to go everywhere. But if you put a little piece of foil over the top or side, then it won't necessarily go towards your camera, or it can be controlled onto the background to give a cool shape. You can cut out shapes in it to make shapes on the background. But another simple hack all has to do with mirrors. So when I first got into photography, again, could only afford so many lights. So when I got and moved up from my my hot lights, I had to buy lights at a time, and lights were expensive. So a $300 flash was maybe all I had. Well, a mirror reflects almost 100% of what comes at it. So just because you only have one light doesn't mean it has to be the only thing. So if I pop off one of these lights, because I have two filling in on the side of me, so if I turn on my handy dandy control program and turn one off, you can see one side went dark now. But if I were to pop up a mirror, you can tell, and you can pop this out of the scene, obviously, and just point the light a little bit more at it, because I have stuff blocking it off, but you can see how quickly that just changes it by pounding it, or bouncing that light right back onto me. And little simple piece of tape on the back put on a stand, get a laundry, a wardrobe, one of those rack ones that are 20, 30 bucks at Target, clamp that right over it, move it out of scene, you have a movable light stand. Another simple trick, foam core, kid project stuff. You'll notice still this side of me is pretty dark. If I pop this in here, which it can be out of frame, if I got a little bit closer, you would see. If I bring that a little bit closer, you can see it kind of fills in that side. If I bring it away, it gets back a little bit darker over here. Additionally, if you buy the right, and you can tell, this is just Elmer's, nothing special. If you have a light that's up above, put it on your table underneath, and it will just bounce light into it. The more the light's up, I have to be a little bit farther back from mine, but if it was farther forward, it would hit this and bounce a little bit more up. Now, if you're in an area that's too bright, buy a foam core that has black on the other side. Black is subtractive, white is additive. So you could take black and essentially make a little bit more moody scene because it's going to block stuff away or filter it off. And see, I can get that little bit more moody setup if that's what I want. Not just because I'm blocking the light, I'm subtracting the stuff through. Or if I bounce it back, you can see I'm bringing that back in. So really quickly with one light, you can make multiple lights just by grabbing a couple mirrors. If I wanted that hair light, again, I can use the stuff up above, but I could take a mirror. And you can see it's starting to bounce that into, you can see it again right on the front of my head, right there, where it's starting to get it. I'm getting really fancy with my holding this up here, but you can see it's doing that. And the cool thing about flexi mirrors, you can kind of see it on the background right now behind me, where it's starting to put a cool little light back there. If you flex it, you can get different shapes too. So another quick hack for it is recruit your friends, recruit your family, and have a kid in the background with a light bounced at it, just flexing away. And you can have a moving background just by them taking a mirror. And you can go one step farther, put a little gel over it, and then you have a moving colored background. So, there's a million different lighting hacks, but with a little bit, just a little bit of equipment, a little bit of tape, aluminum foil, paint one side black, keep the other side silver. That can still make a cool background. A little plexi mirror, maybe you have a mirror that, one of those plastic ones that you just don't like anymore in the house. Take a Dremel, cut it in half, make two little mini ones. You can take a one light setup, turn into a 3, and then with a little foam core, for under $100, you can have a multi-light setup. Even if you went to the store and just got little LED, now that you can get those LED work lights, you can have a pretty advanced lighting setup for really well under $100. And you can have a 3, 4, 5 light setup.